What's going on? I'm gonna wait for some of you guys to come in before I start talking. Today, I want to do something a little different, man. I'm really into the boxing history. I'm really into boxing history as far as, go back all the way down to the 30s, all the way now to the 2021. So I kind of want to share that with you guys. And yeah, so I'm gonna wait for some of you guys to come on, ask me questions, as well as I discuss who I think my top eight, not necessarily in order, but give you a top eight of my top eight pound for pound fighters. Right now, we don't got nobody here, so we're just waiting for more people to come through, and hopefully, we can have some fun. I love boxing, man. This is a great sport, and right now, boxing, the way boxing is right now, man, it's good. It's good. Boxing is in good hands because of the young guys we got coming up. We got guys like Teofimo coming up, willing to fight anybody. Josh Taylor, willing to fight anybody. Who else? Jerome Boots Ennis is talking like he wants to fight Spence and Crawford right now, so he's willing to fight anybody. Canelo, he's been on a streak of fighting the best. So we're in a good space right now in boxing. For a little while, we were in a bad space where people were just worrying about money. I mean, we still got guys like that. Tank Davis, he's somebody who said, I mean, not necessarily say, but the way he's moving, he's fighting. He was scheduled to fight Rolly and then replaces him with Pitbull Cruz, and before that, Mario Barrios and Leo Santa Cruz, as opposed to fighting a Tio, a Lomachenko, a Devin Haney, guys we want to see him in the ring with, guys he may lose to or he may beat. You never know. But point is, there's a chance where you can lose. Whereas with the Rolly fight, with the fight against Pitbull Cruz or Leo Santa Cruz and all those fights, we're like, yeah, those are decent fights, but none of those fights were like, oh my god, I can't believe he's fighting Lomachenko. It's like, I don't know. The one time he was rumored to fight Lomachenko, what he did is he got mad at Floyd and unfollowed him and did all types of shit not to fight Lomachenko. So I don't know. He's not trying to fight the best. So, but besides that, for the most part, I feel like a lot of the young guys are willing to fight. They're going the motto of, listen, I want to prove I'm the best. That's why look at Anthony Joshua. Say whatever you want. Yeah, he got knocked out by Ruiz. Yeah, he lost to Usyk, but he's had at one point had 3 of the 4 heavyweight titles. Like, you got to give him credit for that. Like, he tried to make the fight with Wilder, but who knows what I don't even want to put blame on who, because I'm not too privy to how the negotiations went exactly. But I will say this. Anthony Joshua deserved more money than Deontay Wilder. I don't know if that was a holdup, but for sure. Guys, feel free to ask me any question regarding boxing history. That's what I'm on here for. I'm talking a little bit about now, current boxing, but it's just I'm just waiting for a few of you guys to jump on so I can answer some of you guys' questions as well as discuss boxing history. I love boxing history. Down from Henry Armstrong to Sugar Ray Robinson, Jake LaMotta, Marvin Hagler, Sugar Ray Leonard, Sugar Ray Robinson, all those guys. Any questions regarding those guys or anybody even of recent or from the 90s or early 2000s that you want to ask me about, feel free. I feel like I'm a boxing encyclopedia at times. Not that I know everything, but I know enough where people go, wow, like, really? I don't believe that. Let me Google. And then they Google and then they're finding out, like, damn, you were right. So feel free to ask me any kind of boxing questions, especially regarding the history, which that's what this stream is about. Let me start off. Hold on. Let me start off by saying this. I have a top 8. I have a top 8 boxers of all time. I don't have them in order. So don't critique me on, hey, why you said this person first? Why you said that person fourth? It's like, I'm not saying them in order. So my top 8, I made a video about this, but I feel like it's better, more interactive. I made a video when I first started. It barely got any views, but I did a lot of research regarding this video, and it barely got any views. So top 8 pound for pound in no order. Remember that part. Manny Pacquiao, most weight divisions, oldest welterweight world champion. Let me see, most lineal weight division champion. On top of the fact, the most division champion. just a fantastic fighter. He got wins over Pereira, Marquez, Morales, Cotto, Margarito. His resume is on fire, on fire. Keith Thurman, and when he was old, he beat Keith Thurman. We got to give credit to Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao is definitely in my top 8. Another one who's in my top 8, Floyd Mayweather, man. Like, you guys like to hate on Floyd Mayweather. Oh, he did this, he did that. He fought Cotto, Pacquiao, Canelo, Mosley, De La Hoya, Corrales, and went undefeated and made the most money and took the least amount of punishment and sold the most pay-per-views, has the highest gate, most tickets sold, most money made on tickets. Like, we got to give him all the credit he deserved. And also, we got to remember, he did clean up the sport. When he brought up the random blood and urine testing, that was a new thing. Before, we were just leaving it up to the commissions. Hey, yo, you go do the blood, the urine test after the fight. That's it. He was the one who started. We're doing blood and urine testing throughout the whole training camp to make sure you're not cheating and to make sure I'm not cheating. So I give him extra credit for that. Like, this guy Floyd Mayweather was an all-time great, definitely the best defensive fighter of all time. I don't even think there's an argument for who's, better than him. I think he's better than Willie Pep. I think he's better than Pernell Whitaker. He just did it differently. A lot of you guys like the slick moving from Willie Pep and from Pernell Whitaker, but they weren't fucking with Mayweather. Mayweather was amazing at transferring his defense into offense with his counterpunch, and he was so fast that he could lead with a right hand or lead with a left hook. So we have to give Mayweather his credit. Number 3, well, in no order, the third of my top 8 is Muhammad Ali. Come on, man. Like, Muhammad Ali beat Joe Frazier twice, George Foreman, and the 2 wins against George Foreman and Sonny Liston, you can make an argument that those are the 2 best wins in boxing history. He was an underdog against power punchers, against champions, and he came out on top, both by stoppage. And with the Sonny Liston, he beat him twice by knockout. You know what I'm saying? Like, he beat George Foreman by taking all his punches and then knocking him out. You got to give the man credit. Also, he has the most fighter of the years. Like, he has that record. We got to give him credit for that as well. Also, you take into account, he left in his prime years to go fight for something, come back and still become world champion. Undisputed too at heavyweight. So we have to give him credit. I believe he was 3-time heavyweight champion. So yeah, he's a all-time great. Definitely in my top 8. You know what? Muhammad Ali is my personal favorite of all time. So that's why I kind of stopped there and started talking about him a lot. This is who I probably, if you put a lie detector test on me and you ask me who was the greatest fighter, I think I'll probably say Henry Armstrong. I think that's who I think. He's from the 30s. He won a Fighter of the Decade. Oh, by the way, I think Muhammad Ali also won Fighter of the Decade in the 60s. So, and then Henry Armstrong won Pacquiao won Fighter of the Decade in the 2000s. Mayweather won the 2010s. Muhammad Ali, 1960s, and Henry Armstrong, I believe he won the 40s. No. Yeah, he won the 30s. He won the 30s. He was Fighter of the Decade of the 30s. So we have to give him credit. He was at one point, listen to this, he was the featherweight champion. But while he was champion, the heavyweight champion was Joe Louis. He was the one that was getting the most publicity. So he was like, damn, how am I going to compete with that? He's, I'm not going to be making that much money at featherweight. So he moved up to welterweight, became the welterweight champion. At the same time, still being a featherweight champion, by the way. Then moves down to lightweight and becomes the lightweight undisputed champion. So he was undisputed in 3 different weight classes at the same time. Put that in perspective. He was undisputed at featherweight, lightweight, and welterweight at the same time. Also holds the record for most welterweight defenses. We got to give this guy credit. You imagine if somebody right now beat Gary Russell Jr. at featherweight, then moves up to welterweight, beats Crawford, and then moves down to lightweight and beats Teofimo. You would tell me that person doesn't exist, because if that person existed, he would be the greatest of all time. Well, somebody like that did that. Somebody was undisputed, because back then when it was only one title, that meant you were undisputed. So he was undisputed at featherweight, undisputed at lightweight, and undisputed at featherweight, welterweight, all at the same time. And then you got to remember, he's originally a 126 pounder that holds the record for most defenses and the welterweight division. That man is an all-time great and my personal number one. All right, moving on. Sugar Ray Robinson. Sugar Ray Robinson, he's the only fighter to win Fighter of the Decade in 2 decades. He won it in the 40s and the 50s. That's to show you how long his reign was, how great he was. He started his career 40-0, lost to Jake LaMotta, avenged that win 5 times, and didn't lose for his next 90 fights. Come on, man. Come on. Put some respect on Sugar Ray Robinson. When people tell you he's one of the greatest of all time and they got him at number 1, don't argue with him. You may disagree, but don't argue with him, because I disagree. I got Henry Armstrong. But, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm like, yeah, Sugar Ray Robinson, that's a legit choice. He's one of the all-time greats, and I have nothing to say about that. 2, the only person to win Fighter of the Decade twice. Man, that's special. Another one, and this is somebody who I feel is very underrated in terms of an all-time list. I feel like he should be in everybody's top 5, and that's Sugar Ray Leonard. Sugar Ray Leonard. Sugar Ray Leonard's resume is crazy. First of all, in the amateurs, won a gold medal. Oh, by the way, Muhammad Ali also won a gold medal. I just wanted to add that too. Don't get shit fucked up. My man Ali was in gold medal too. That's besides the point. And Mayweather would have won gold too, but he got robbed in the Olympics. So let's be honest with that. But yeah, Sugar Ray Leonard won gold in the Olympics. In the gold medal match, he beat a Cuban. Well, guess what? In the next Olympics, that Cuban went on to win a gold medal. So that's the type of quality of competition he had to face to become a gold medalist. So we have to give him credit for the quality in that gold medal match. He beat this guy, and it was pretty clear that he beat him. It wasn't controversial at all. So not only does he have that win, he has wins over Duran, Benitez, Hearns, Hagler. Come on. His resume is crazy. And he did all of this in a short amount of fights. He was Fighter of the Decade, I believe, in the 80s. And well-deserved. This guy was fantastic. One of the best fighters of all time. One of the best pound for pound. There's no argument. Period. He is one of the greatest of all time. Another one. Man, this one. This is legendary to legendary. He holds the record for most pound for pound. Most days on the pound for pound list is owned by Roy Jones Jr. That's who owns that record. This guy was fantastic. And by the way, in his pound for pound number 1 reign, Floyd Mayweather was at his best at 130. And at not one point did people go, is Floyd Mayweather better than Roy Jones? Roy Jones was a bad motherfucker. And also, you got to take into consideration, he won silver medal. That should have been a gold medal. He got robbed in the Olympics. I believe the fight was it was in Seoul, Korea. He fought a Korean in a gold medal match, beat him clearly, and then got robbed. So he should have been a gold medalist. Let's add that. Then you got to remember, most days on the number 1 pound for pound list, which includes Floyd Mayweather's reign at 130 and 135. Then also remember, he was champion from 160 to heavyweight. Come on, man. Like, he has wins over Tarver, Hopkins, Tony, John Ruiz, who wasn't a great heavyweight, but, you got to give Roy Jones a lot of credit for beating a guy that good, that big. I mean, like, Roy Jones is one of the greatest of all time, and he definitely deserves to be on everybody's top 8, which is what I'm talking about right now. All right, so the last one that I'm going to talk about, again, it wasn't in order, my list, is Joe Louis. Joe Louis was one of the greatest fighters of all time, holds the most consecutive heavyweight title defenses. And it's particularly impressive when it's in the heavyweight division. And the reason I say that is because the heavyweight division, you're fighting, everybody there weighs over 200 pounds. And back then, it wasn't 200. It was probably everybody weighed over 190 pounds, which 190 pounds, it's a big dude. This guy's, anybody 200 pounds, 190 pounds, that's a big guy. So when you fighting consistently a person over 190 pounds and you winning, he had something called a bum a month, where literally he beat a fighter every month. He fought 11 times in 1 year. So it was 11 defenses in 12 months. And he called his tour a bum of the month tour, where he was knocking dudes out. Like, man, that's impressive. That's really impressive. You got to give him credit. Also, you got to remember, he went to war. He did a bunch of things, came back, and still was champion. Great fighter. Probably had the most pressure going into a fight than anybody ever did, and came out victorious with a resounding knockout of Max Schmeling. He went to the president, and the president, I believe it was Roosevelt. I don't remember, to be honest, but I believe it was Roosevelt. When he went to the White House, the president grabbed his arm and goes, "Hey, listen, we need these muscles for freedom," because Max Schmeling was a German fighter. So this was around the time with the Nazis and all that. So he was a symbol for freedom, a symbol for America. And all that pressure on his back, he came out and delivered a clutch knockout. A clutch knock. You imagine watching a fight and being like, damn, I hate the Nazis. Because, you read the newspapers, you listen to the radio, you watch TV, and you hear about these Nazis, how disgusting they are. And then you're hearing about a German fighter coming here representing them. You're going to root for your guy. You're going to root for the American, and he came with a clutch knockout. So you got to give him extra credit for that win. Extra credit. Now, yeah, those are the 8 fighters I think that should be in everybody's top 8. Every single person's top 8. Yeah, there's other fighters like Roberto Duran and Julio Cesar Chavez and Canelo Alvarez. Now maybe we'll leave Canelo out of his. Let him finish his career before we start ranking him. Like guys like Julio Cesar Chavez, Pernell Whitaker, guys who you may be like, wait, well, how come they're not in his top 8? They ain't do special things like these guys did. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, Roy Jones holds the record for most days on the #1 pound-for-pound list, which includes Floyd Mayweather. You get what I'm saying? Look what Sugar Ray Ray Leonard beat. Benitez, Duran twice, Hearn. Like, come on, man. Yo, you a hater, man. The fuck? Man, y'all, this chat going crazy, man. Yeah, I ain't even gonna address that. But anyways, yeah, man. That's what I think, man. That's exactly what I think. Damn, man, I wish more people was on, man. Ask me some fucking questions, man. I'm over here freestyling. Yo, but another thing, man, Sonny Liston could have been a special fighter. Sonny Liston, although he's a Hall of Famer, a heavyweight world champion, you could say like, oh, how could he get more special than that? He started boxing late, and then on top of that, he had the mob behind him. So he was doing a lot of like favors for them. And when you're doing favors for the mob and gangsters and shit like that, it's never a good thing. It's never a good thing. And I feel like if he started boxing earlier and got with the right trainers and got with the right crowd and managers, I feel like he could have gone special. I still think Muhammad Ali would have beat him, to be honest with you, but I feel like he could have done a lot better, and he could have maybe had a better career going on, Yeah. But damn, man, y'all ain't fucking with me. Nobody on, man. Trying to think what other boxing history I could think of. Listen, the Julio Cesar Chavez fight against Meldrick Taylor, I thought the stoppage was a little early. Man, that guy fought 12 rounds, was winning the fight. You don't stop that fight with 1 second left. When you hear that clack, 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 there's only 10 seconds left. When you see that red light bulb going up, warning you there's only 10 seconds left, you let that fight continue, man. He should have got his glory. Meldrick Taylor got robbed of his glory. Also a gold medalist, by the way. Also a gold medalist. He was ahead on 2 of the 3 scorecards. That one scorecard, that was bullshit. But you got like that was wrong. Now Richard Steele, he got booed for the rest of his career after that stoppage, and as he should. Yeah, that's crazy. Also, sticking to the Julio Cesar Chavez conversation, man, what they did to Pernell Whitaker, man, they robbed him of such a glorious win. That was criminal. Pernell Whitaker put in a great performance. Moving, dodging, slipping and sliding, body shots. And it wasn't like he was running. He was staying in the pocket, dodging, boom, 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 going to the body, moving around, spinning around. It was a masterful performance. But it's unfortunate that goes on his record as a draw. And he didn't get the glory of knowing he beat the great Julio Cesar Chavez. That was some bullshit. The fight was in Texas. The fight was mostly Mexican. It was insane. I really didn't like that. That was one of the worst robberies in terms of robbing somebody of their glory. There's been some bad robberies, but that one was a real bad one, especially at the biggest stage. You know, that was probably the biggest fight in the 90s, you know, like one of the biggest fights that people were looking forward to. And for that to end like that, it was bad. It was a bad look. Yeah, man. Man, looks like y'all not fucking with me. Y'all not a lot of y'all on, not a lot of y'all asking questions. It's all good though. But yeah. Ask them questions, man. I see I got some viewers, man. Ask the questions. Boxing history. We talking boxing history. All right. How do I rate Conor Benn? This isn't boxing history, but I'll answer it anyways. Conor Benn, I like him. I like what he did against Granados. I felt like Granados thought he was winning when he was boxing, but I don't think he was winning. It was very misleading. But what proved to me in that fight is that he knows how to fight a boxer. He knows what to do, how to win rounds. So that's impressive to me. I do wish he would have stopped him. And I felt like if he would have paid a little bit more attention to the body, he could have got the stoppage. But, you know, again, he's young. I'm not going to super over criticize. But what I did like is he didn't let Granados's boxing and experience frustrate him or confuse him or do anything. It looked like he knew what he was doing in the ring. So, yeah, I like Conor Benn, but I don't think he's fucking with Virgil Ortiz. And I definitely don't think he's fucking with Jerron Boots Ennis. So, can he be a world champion? It's going to be tough with these young guys, Virgil Ortiz, Boots Ennis, and then if Josh Taylor moves up, who knows how long Terrence Crawford has left in the welterweight division. He has his work cut out for him. But yes, to answer your question, I do like him. He's a good fighter. But yeah, guys, if you guys just tuning in, I'm talking boxing history. Any question you guys have about boxing history, whether it be about Julio Cesar Chavez or Duran or you know, Hagler, anything, man, just ask away. I'm trying to talk about boxing history and even the current boxing. You know, I'm just saying that's where I want to steer the conversation. Right now, though, since this guy Jack Oddsock brought up current boxing, right now the prospect I'm really high on is Jerron Boots Ennis, man. And I love the way he's talking. He said, I want to be the first 4-division unified undisputed champion. So that lets me know he wants to fight the best. He wants to undispute each division he's in. So he said 4. So that'll be welterweight, super welterweight, 154, middleweight, and then 168. So that's he's thinking he's gonna move up to 168 and become undisputed. Got to give the kid credit, especially if he does it. If he does it. He just needs to work on a few things too. Like I was talking about Conor Benn, he needs to work on a few things. So does Jerome Boots Ennis. Jerome Boots Ennis needs to work on not getting hit so clean. You're going to get hit in a fight. Listen, it's boxing. You're going to get hit in a fight. Thomas Delorme landed a couple hard overhand rights. He got him out of there in the first round. So you guys are probably thinking of me, whoa, why is he nitpicking? He got him out in there in the first round. I saw the same thing in the Lipinets fight. And yeah, he won every single round that fight too. But you got to remember, not everybody hits like Thomas Delorme and Lipinets. If that's Terrence Crawford, he could get you out of there. You talk about moving up in weight. You're going to be moving up in weight. You're going to be getting hit hard. You imagine he moves up in weight, gets hit like that by Charlo, gets hit by like that versus Canelo, because he said 168. So I'm just saying, like, eventually when he moves up, or like Golovkin, like, he needs to figure out how not to get hit so clean. I don't mind fighters going and getting hit, because even the good thing about Julio Cesar Chavez, I'm sticking to the boxing history. Good thing about Julio Cesar Chavez is, yeah, he did get hit a lot, but he did roll a lot with those punches. And maybe not, he's probably not a good example because he did get cracked a lot. Roberto Duran is probably a good example. Roberto Duran, people looked at him like, oh, he's an offensive fighter, and he was, but he would never really get hit too clean. He would either smother your work or he would roll with your punches. So, that's what I feel Boots Ennis needs to work on. All right. Ennis is a special talent. Andrade has fallen off a bit of late. His career is a Canelo payday at best. Yeah, Ennis is definitely a special talent, but like I said, he needs to maybe learn how to roll with punches a little bit more, and also move his head a little to the side, both move it back. These are little things that he can work on. But yeah, I agree, he is a special talent. Andrade, he's, you said falling off a bit of late. I think he's falling off a lot. Like, I feel like a lot he's falling off. And it's to the point where nobody wants to fight him because he's not that big of a name. And also, like, he's a risky fight. Like, he's a good fighter. Nobody's going to want to fight him. But what he could do is move up to 168 and become Canelo's mandatory, because he owns the WBO title. So now the WBO, what they do is anytime a fighter that's a champion at the lower division, he moves up, he automatically becomes the mandatory. If Canelo wants to stay undisputed, he has to fight his mandatories. So all Andrade has to do is move up, drop his belt, and become the mandatory for Canelo Alvarez, and he'll get that fight. So, yeah. But right now, at the middleweight division, nobody seems to want to fight him. Nobody. I don't understand why. He's talented. He's good. But unfortunately, they think he's too much of a risk, and it's crazy. It's crazy. Any questions, man? Jock Odd Sock. Ooh, I love this. My man, Gerald McClellan versus Canelo at super middleweight. Whoa. I never even thought of this fight. Whew. I mean, I think Canelo, the reason I think Canelo still got it is we didn't see it so much in this fight, because I guess he probably was just so non-threatened with what Caleb Plant had to offer. Is Canelo Alvarez's defense is very, very good. Like, so he has a way of making it seem like he's there to be hit and then moving back. And then, like, there's a video I actually posted up on my Instagram. It's the last video I posted up on my Instagram, where when Canelo fought Cotto, Canelo threw a jab, Canelo dodged it, threw an uppercut, and then spun around of Cotto's hook. So there's a lot of just technical things, and I've almost feel like he's so used to fighting taller fighters that it's almost become an advantage to him. He's gotten accustomed and used to fighting a taller fighter, and he knows where to go, where to spin, where to hit, where the openings are on a taller fighter. So I would pick Canelo Alvarez. Although Gerald McClellan, I don't need to tell you. You guys are boxing smart, people. That guy, he's nice. Like, come on, man. He had great body shots too, McClellan. I don't think it'll be an easy fight, by the way. I do not think it'll be an easy fight. My man, McClellan was definitely a good guy, but I just think Canelo. The thing is, maybe it's recency bias. Canelo's peaking right now. Gerald McClellan was never number one pound for pound. You understand what I'm saying? Canelo right now is peaking, number one pound for pound, undisputed. In less than 11 months, you got to give him that credit to think that somebody that didn't do that in their time can't beat him. You understand what I'm saying? You want to tell me, oh, I think Roy Jones will beat him. Yeah, Roy Jones was undisputed and a gold medalist. And I don't think he was undisputed at 168. But point is, he was at 175. He had 3 out of the 4 belts and number one pound for pound. So he was the best at his time. Same thing with Andre Ward. Andre Ward was the best in his time. He was number one pound for pound for a while. And if you want to tell me those two guys beat Canelo, I have no argument. Like, those guys are great. All-time greats. You know, the fight that I would really want to see is Canelo versus Sugar Ray Leonard. Now, that's a fight I would want to see. That's a fight that I would have dreams about. At 160, Canelo Alvarez versus Sugar Ray Leonard. Who wins? Let me know in the chat. Who y'all think wins? Because before I give mine, let me know in that chat. Who y'all think would have won? Sugar Ray Leonard or Canelo Alvarez? Because you got to remember, Sugar Ray Leonard was not a good inside fighter. He did not have inside fighting skills. Like, he was very good on the outside or very good at coming forward and keeping his distance. But once you got on the inside, it almost like he didn't know what to do. That's why he lost the first fight with Roberto Duran. He just didn't know how to box from the outside. Inside. And that's what Roberto Duran came, made it dirty, pushed him on the ropes, had him fighting his fight. And he ended up losing. The rematch, he came out boxing, clowning him around, and he was having a lot of success until Duran quit. And I'm not even going to get into that. Unless y'all want to. Unless in the chat y'all talk about that. I'll talk about the no mas situation, but I don't want to get into it. You know what I'm saying? Sugar Ray Leonard was one of the greatest of all time. Canelo Alvarez, one of the greatest of all time. That fight will be scintillating, especially since Sugar Ray Leonard is somebody who he didn't mind mixing it up. He didn't mind. He wasn't scared of, you want to brawl? We could fucking brawl. That was Sugar Ray Leonard's ideology. That was his mindset. And we all know Canelo Alvarez is Mexican. Canelo Alvarez is ready to go, and his chin is solid. Fought Triple G twice, didn't even get dropped. Fought Kovalev, didn't even get dropped. You know what I'm saying? His chin is solid, hand speed, good defense. That's the fight I would really want to see. I think Canelo moves up to cruiserweight. Okolie is slower than a month in jail, and an easy win for the WBO strap. I think Canelo just edges Sugar Ray on points and Mexican beef. I'm not going to touch that Mexican beef part, but as far as you saying Canelo's moving up to cruiserweight, why would he do that? Like, that makes no sense to me. You know who Lawrence Okolie is in America? Nobody. Lawrence Okolie could walk down Madison Avenue naked with all his belts, and people go, who's that? Who's that crazy guy that's naked? Put him in jail. Nobody know who the hell Okolie is. The only way I see Canelo Alvarez moving up in weight is for an undisputed opportunity or for somebody with a name. Like, hypothetically speaking, Andre Ward came back, and I'm speaking hypothetical because I don't think he's coming back. And he came back and he goes, listen, I'm campaigning at 175. He gets a belt. He beats Joe Smith or Bivol or Better Beef, and he calls out Canelo. Now, that I see is somebody who is somewhat of a draw because of his announcing on ESPN and his past history, both winning a gold medal, being number one pound for pound, beating Kovalev twice. That's a fight I can see him moving up and weight for. Or again, if Better Beef ends up, getting undisputed and calling out Canelo, I can see that as well. But moving up in weight, it has to be worth Canelo's. It has to be worth Canelo's time. He moved up to from 160 to 175. He fought Kovalev. Kovalev had a name. Kovalev fought Andre Ward twice. He been on ESPN. He's been on HBO. People are familiar with the name Kovalev. In America, nobody knows who's Okolie. So I do not see that happening whatsoever. And either way, like, I love Canelo. He's number one pound for pound, but damn, I don't know if he beats Okolie. Like, you want to move him up, you know, almost 40 pounds? He's good, but I don't think he's that good. Like, and that's no disrespect. It's just weight classes for a reason. Why would he move up to, like, I don't get it. I don't get it. It would be picking up world titles in 5 weight divisions, just a bit more history, I guess. I guess when you put it that way, I guess if he looks at what Okolie does and goes, that's an easy strap for me. But like, I don't even know who promotes Okolie. I get is Eddie Hearn? Does it Eddie Hearn that promotes him? I guess it'll be on the zone, but that fight doesn't sell in the U.S. That fight doesn't sell in the U.S. And right now, if you want to make the most money, you got to sell pay-per-views. You got to make money. And yeah, Okolie ain't it, bro. Nah, I'm sorry. That was a bad suggestion. But again, I guess you're right. It's not a bad suggestion in the sense that if he's going for legacy, he could say, yo, I was even champion at cruiserweight. I went from 154 to cruiserweight and became a champion. I guess it's not a bad suggestion, but I don't think it'll happen. I'm just being honest. Ooh. Hagler versus Canelo. That's a great fight. Thing is with Hagler, you can frustrate Hagler. If you box him, you can frustrate him. And Canelo, although his nature is not to box, he does have boxing IQ to figure that out. And especially if it's a 15-round fight, you give him 3 extra rounds to figure it out. I think I'm gonna go with Canelo. I think we're gonna go with Canelo. Yeah. Now that's no disrespect to Hagler. Hagler's a great fighter, but nah, I don't think so. Hearn was talking about a fight for Canelo with Better Beef. Yeah, yeah, sure. I guess. Better Beef has a tough fight with Marcus Brown right now, so he needs to focus on that before he starts talking about Canelo, because Marcus Brown could fight. Marcus Brown got a nice right hook. He could knock him out. Who knows? But then again, who knows? Better Beef could knock him out. And Better Beef does have 2 belts. I believe he's the IBF and the WBC champion. So he does have something to offer Canelo. Like, yo, bro, I got 2 belts. Move up for me. You moved up for 1 belt for Kovalev. Move up for me. But again, I don't even know if he speaks English. He's not a big name in America either. I think it makes more sense for him to stay at 168, defend either against Benavidez, Triple G, or Jamal Charlo, excuse me. That's what the fights that make sense for him monetarily. And as well as their competitive fights, like, it's not a fight that the fans are going, damn, you just going with the most popular name. If he fought Benavidez, Charlo, or Triple G next, I think the fans would be satisfied. I don't see anybody being angry. Like, yeah, I like that. I like that fight. I'm meaning the 3 fights I mentioned: Triple G, Charlo, Benavidez. Those are the fights he should fight next. Yeah, guys, I'm about to go in a bit. So if you guys have a question, this was just spur of the moment. If you guys have a question, ask it right now before I hop out. Definitely, I love talking boxing, and I wanted this to be more about boxing history and stuff like that. That's the way I had it in my mind, but you guys seem to want to talk about current boxing, so that's cool with me too. But yeah, so ask your questions. I'm gonna be out like in 2-3 minutes, so I'll just hang out a little bit and then let me know. By the way, if some of y'all weren't on when I was talking about Roy Jones' run, Roy Jones, one of the greatest fighters of all time, man. Give that man his credit. He has the record for most number 1 pound for pound for most days on the number 1 pound for pound list. And that went through Floyd Mayweather reign at 130 and 135. So we got to give my man credit. Also was a silver medalist, should have been gold. He got robbed in the Olympics. Beat Bernard Hopkins, beat Glenn Johnson. Oh, no, he got beat by Glenn Johnson. Excuse me. Beat Roy Jones. I mean, excuse me. Tonio Tarver, Hopkins, James Toney. He's beat a lot of good fighters, man. That guy is special. Give my man his credit. Right. It seems like you guys don't got no questions for me. It's all good, though. I appreciate y'all coming through, and hopefully next time it won't be so spur of the moment and we get more people. But this was just kind of something like I ain't have nothing to do. I was like, let me jump on live and talk with my peoples. But all right, guys, hit the subscribe button and hit the like button if you haven't already. Peace.